Welcome back, team, to the first weekly breakdown of the year. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you all had a good Christmas and New Year break. I'm going to put together my kind of breakdown, my pairs that I'm going to be looking at this week and what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to show you how I set up my charts, where I'm going to be kind of highlighting zones. So let's get stuck into it. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss out on any future content. So first pair we're looking at is EURJPY. I'm just going to do what we always do, which is remove the drawings. It's a really, really good tip that I'd have for you, is to remove any drawings that you have kind of pending from previous weeks. It stops you getting any trade biases, and it means that you can start each week with a fresh mind. The only time I won't do that is if I've got a trade running at the moment, which obviously I don't at the moment because it's been Christmas break and all the other bits and bobs. Starting on the weekly chart, I'm going to highlight my most recent range. So that is my weekly range low there. And then we've got another one here. That's my weekly range high there. Okay. And then we're going to drop down to the daily. And then I use this indicator, the DWMHL indicator, for my kind of daily and weekly highs and lows. As you can see, I don't need to mark out the daily one. This is the daily range from this area to this area, because naturally price has already done this for me. But what I can see here is that we do have this area of demand here. It's daily demand, which we'll mark on as the daily demand that we have just tagged into. So expectation is prices, quite heavily bearish from this big daily move here. Expectation on EURJPY is for something like this. So I'll be watching this zone for kind of further prices higher. The next zone up I'll be looking to take sort of profits from would be this one here, which is another daily zone. That'll be a good profit taking area. At the moment we are in this downtrend, as you can see, so if price were to reach back up to here, I'd be looking for shorts. So buys and sells available on this at the moment. Obviously the bias right now would be bearish, but looking for a reversal. Now, for me to want to actually trade this, if I draw on my range, I'm not going to be looking at any sells from here. As you can see, we're in the lower half of this big daily range. So for me on this chart, I won't be looking for any sells. We're too low in the range for me to, try and find a valid setup. Let's have a quick look what we see on the 4 hour. Yeah, so, you might get some short-term plays down into here, but ultimately I will be just looking for price to reach this zone and then looking for longs to kind of push back up. Okay. Next pair we're going to have a look at is EURUSD. Same process as before. Let's switch over to the weekly chart. Let's remove all our drawings. Let's have a look what we got. So in terms of our kind of weekly range, we have just kind of broken out of that. I'm going to mark this one on here because that may be an area that we come back to and tag. And obviously we've got the low there. We haven't got any kind of confirmed new range on the weekly. We've broken up. We need to see price kind of coming back down here really before we could mark this high. We don't know where this high is just yet, so it's just a case of kind of watching and waiting. Similarly to EURUSD, we are actually in this quite nice zone here. Let's drop down to the daily. Let's see if we can see it any clearer. Let's have a quick look where we are. So yeah, so look, we're in quite a nice zone here. The only thing that kind of makes me nervous about these sorts of trades is we are obviously bullish at the moment. We've broken this weekly high and we are pushing bullish. So I'm going to need to see some real clear confirmation before I sell this, because, price reached here, kind of rejected, didn't do much. Price reached here, kind of rejected. When the market structure changes like this and we're now creating higher highs and higher lows, moving up like this, for me, this is not really something I want to just assume that every supply zone is going to cause a reversal. In fact, what is most likely now we've changed direction is that we're going to get a move to possibly take out this high here. That would be, an area where, this top portion here is really where I'll be looking for kind of strong sells from. At the moment, this market is heavily bullish, and ideally I want price to, I'm not going to be buying from here because we're too high in the range. if we want to go short, we need a real clear indication. So daily structure or 4-hour structure to tell us that we're going to go short. Let's have a look what we've got on here as well. I mean, this looks like it could be setting up. We have got this lovely kind of arcing shape here. This looks like it could be setting up for a short. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to want to see some nice impulse taking out multiple liquidity points and then possibly a second breaker structure before I look at trading this like this. This is on a 4-hour chart, so it's quite a high time frame trade. So nothing kind of immediately obvious on Euro USD. Let's just mark this out properly. So we've got that ready. So we'll keep an eye on this zone. Well, you can see with the indicator, we've got loads of liquidity, weekly, daily. We've got loads of liquidity above and below. So, expecting a move from here, whether it's short, whether it's long, I don't know. But if I am going to be going short, I need some real clear confirmations. Okay. Next one, Euro Aussie. So let's move out to the weekly. Same process as before. I'm going to remove all my drawings. Let's have a quick look. So very similar. Okay. We have broken this weekly high there, but we have actually got a really clear range high still on this one. So for us now on Euro Aussie, this is a much better area for us to look for sells from. And in fact, if we're going to go short on Euro Aussie, the likelihood is that we're probably not going to be going short on Euro dollar, because normally they oppose each other. That's quite a nice daily zone. So let's mark up that zone. I'm going to be highlighting this one as one to watch, because if I'm going to be looking for a trade, this would be a great trade. The reason for that, opposed to the Euro dollar, is that we've got a really clearly defined range here. You can see this big push down gave us kind of a major breaker structure. So we mark that on as a major breaker structure. We're in premium, we're in a supply zone. So for me, shorts from this area are going to be really high probability. Euro dollar doesn't really give me that same feel, because we don't know what this range is. This is not a clear range. That could have been the range. It's broken. That could have been the range. That's broken. That could have been the range. So you see what I mean? It's not something that we can really trust, because this could be the range. That could be the range. We don't really know what the range is yet. Even if that was the range, we could be going short from there, I suppose, because it is in the premium 50% of the zone. But again, it's not something that I'm going to be rushing into. And Euro Aussie, using the same principles, is for me a much better trade. So I'm going to mark that on. We'll mark it in as red. We're going to keep an eye on it and see what we get throughout the week. Euro Swissy, let's clear that off. Let's have a quick look. So again, really clearly defined range here. Okay, we've got a range high, obviously we can see that there. Let's mark that on. We have just broken this range low, which is a lovely little break. Oh, wrong tool. Sorry, guys. We've got a lovely break there. And really, where's the next range? I mean, I suppose the next range low, big liquidity point, is going to be this low here. So let's keep an eye on those points. The fact that we've broken that, and we've broken that quite convincingly now, that gives me an indication that we could be going short. We could be looking for further prices short. Really kind of, you're going to get this after when markets go really slow. This is what, November, slow market. And then this is basically 12th of December onwards. It's just moved sideways. So I'm not in any rush to trade this, if I'm honest. I do, of course, have a short bias. Let's have a quick look what we've got here. We've got a zone there that we could use. It has been tagged a couple of times. Again, nothing really clear. I think a lot of these pairs are going to need a lot more development before we can actually trade them. And if we draw on our range finder on the weekly range, let's see what we get out of this. Yeah, and we're in the discount portion of our weekly range. So again, I'm not in a rush to sell this, because this is low probability for sales. So I think, again, it needs a bit of development. If we get a lovely kind of supply zone created, big impulsive push, and then a retest, it could be something that we can consider. The daily range is, again, it's just really mucky. That, I suppose, is the daily range at the moment. So it's a case of kind of watching and waiting on this one and seeing what happens. Ideally, we'd like price to kind of come down here and then give us a nice setup on the way back up. Okay, in terms of where we are internally, we've got all of this liquidity that we could be looking at, but again, I just don't really see anything particularly great to trade. So I'm going to unmark that one and we'll keep an eye on it. Last but not least, we've got pound versus the yen. Let's clear the chart. Let's mark on our weekly highs and lows. So we've got a lovely weekly low there, and we've got a lovely weekly high there. So really clearly defined range. What we're looking at, well, that was a massive liquidity sweep, big push up with a major breaker structure on the weekly. So we've got a general kind of bias of bullish price action. If we take a look down here, we are in the discount zone. So we could be looking for a trade from this kind of massive, massive area. It's pretty big, that, to be fair. We mark that on as a daily one. That's pretty hefty. So again, I'm not in a rush to trade this. If we do get a trade from here, a buy from here, have to see what happens. We've got a slightly better zone there, if you can see that. Just mark that one up. So we have got a slightly better zone there that we could use for trades. We just drag that one out, mark that on as an hourly. So that could be good for buys, but equally, you've got this other zone down here that could also be used for buys. So it's undecided. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these two zones live. I'm going to get rid of the daily. That's where I'd be looking for possible longs from. I wouldn't be looking to short into this. The potential of the trade is low. So I trade kind of two theories. I like to have high probability trades in terms of high probability of working out. For example, a sell from this equilibrium area, this middle of the range, is not for me a high probability trade. A sell from the premium of the range is, of course. So if price were to get back up to this beautiful supply zone we've got there, I trade that all day long. But that's heavily in premium. And that's in premium with this smaller range as well. So I'm all over that. Right now, we're actually in discount. So I'd only be considering buys from here. I wouldn't be considering any sells from here. And it would just be a case of kind of watching and waiting. It's two options, really. Price comes up into here, gives me some structure, and allows me to come short. I would trade that like that all day long. Perfect. 5-hour trade. Happy with that. Or it could do this first, which is price comes down to here and then gives us some structure and goes up to that zone. Okay, either one of those possibilities could happen. Either one of them is going to give us a nice setup. That's a nice 5-hour all the way down to there. 7-hour, if we go all the way down, that's a nice 4-hour. So, you know, those are the two kind of setups I'd be looking for and kind of watching and waiting for. So a lot of the markets at the moment are just a case of waiting and seeing what's happening. Nothing really to jump into just yet. So let's hold fire. You know, it's really, really important to make sure that your checklist is met and that your rules are met before you just jump into trades, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on Instagram at StrongMoneyForex, where I post daily content, daily setups, and daily trade ideas. So do head over to my Instagram at StrongMoneyForex and hopefully catch you in the next video.